Hi, I'm Jameson Newlander, Alan Frog from the Lost Boys, and you're watching the Frog Brothers Podcast.
What's Scooby-Doo running from a spooky ghost?
It's refreshment time, folks.
Are either one of these any good?
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV? No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. You don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only...
Finish him.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Okay, channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
Hello, and welcome to the Frog Bros Podcast. This is episode 101.
The Batman animated series intro seems fitting there at the end.
Hell yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. How are you guys doing tonight?
I'm fabulous.
That's Nick. I'm Justin.
I am Alec.
And we are going to have a fun night tonight. We're going to have a fun little episode for you. Man.
A fun dark night.
That's you, Alec. Are you talking in the third person with that?
Smoke weed every day.
Alec got high in advance, just like usual, because he has to get to his right state of mind.
You're a smart motherfucker. That's right.
Exactly. So, pretty good episode coming at you. We're going to cover the Batman. So you may notice all the Batman stuff in front of us. Alec has this
fucking A, man.
Set of Batman Returns cups from McDonald's, which was less controversial than the Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
McDonald's was not happy with the way Batman Returns turned out. But if they watched the first movie, they should have fucking known what they were getting into.
Yeah, Penguin does not, unfortunately, tell Catwoman in the Batman, I'd like to fill her void.
Yes, exactly. And you,
our teacher, is
the best young person
French flipper trick
a role model could have. Okay, so we've got some show and tell tonight. What do you have, Alec?
I have a couple little things, and by little things, I do mean little.
Little things.
Yeah, you're going to have to zoom in on this.
Tiny ass Rubik's cube. That's pretty cool. It's for action figures and things like that. It's going to be for photography. And a Crayola set of 64 crayons, also the same thing. I figure the Rubik's Cube might have a little more use in things like, I don't know, I figure Back to the Future you could have a Rubik's Cube and make sense, 1985 and stuff like that. The crayons are a little more modern.
You could still just kind of have the box on the side somewhere.
Someone like Podcast might have crayons laying around somewhere, but other than that, I don't know many characters that might. But, nice just little extra set deck for it. So
hell yeah, we're doing a lot of toy photography and stuff lately. So,
and I got 2 DVDs this week.
Which ones?
Jack Frost, which we reviewed in December, but I didn't have, and I picked that up on DVD.
Very nice,
very classic.
How much?
About $10 or $12 or something, because it's a new DVD. But and the Mothman Prophecies, which I've actually not seen, but I'm into weird and spooky shit, so I was like, sure, let's give it a shot. Picked that up. Used.
Is that for next week?
What? Mothman Prophecies? No, it's just for me, because I like movies.
That's for his physical media collection.
I mean, maybe we'll cover it at some point. I haven't yet even watched it to determine if it's worth covering.
Mm-hmm. So since Alec and I both went to the Ghostbusters Afterlife World Premiere, the Ghostbusters Rebels have a patch replica of the High C bottles that were promotional items for the movie, so got a couple of those. Very nice. They may still have some available. I didn't do the pre-order.
There's a real thing right there.
Yeah, but we drank ours like normal people. A lot of people bought and kept theirs to collect it, which I could understand that too, but at the same time...
you couldn't take it on the plane with the liquid in it.
Not if you've seen the ones that are sealed from the 80s that are bottles. You would not have not drank it.
The light's going to ruin it eventually.
I drank it while I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife at the world premiere.
That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I can put fake green food coloring drink in there as many times as it fades. But I can't watch the premiere of a movie while drinking an Ecto-Cooler very often in life. So I took the opportunity. So I'd previously shown off one of these Mayan death whistles, or Aztec death whistles, sorry, that our buddy Jacob
Aztec,
made.
not Mayan.
Yeah. Big difference. Some moldy man. Anyway, so this one's done in a bone color. That's great. Thanks, Jacob, for that. But my buddy Josh...
It's a bone filament, not just color, right? It's
yeah, bone filament. Well,
and that's Sicilian rail.
But my buddy Josh also has a 3D printer, and he printed 3. He really impressed me here. I met up with him at the Batman movie the other night when we went there, and so he gave me 3 models. Gave me one that's a very heavy model, that's actually a resin print. Very nice, feel that? Yeah.
This is real pubis.
We got one that's a lightweight model that has no whistle, so feel that.
It's a stunt whistle.
It is, basically. And then we've got another whistle that has the whistle parts in it, and this is just a regular 3D print, not a resin print.
Are you going to blow on it for our viewers?
Not right now. But I feel like now that I've got 4 of these, I feel like I need the case that Adam Savage delivered them in, and luckily I have some extra cases lying around, or I might just get a tiny one
got some weight.
Put props in it. So I'm going to do a video of painting all these things, getting them up to spec to look like the movie. So it should be pretty fun. So, and then obviously I'll bless Alec with one of these, or maybe we'll see if Josh can make some more. But yeah, these are fucking amazing. These are going to be great to have with everything. So I'm excited for Comic-Con coming up.
Comic-Con.
Need to get you some of those Native American moccasin rope ties or whatever. That's what they use in the shoes.
Yeah, I need to try to find...
necklace.
I need to see if they got like a vegan leather version of those, because I don't want to buy real leather for that shit.
Or you could buy vintage too. Wouldn't be bad. Off
of
eBay.
Yeah, if I could find some vintage ones, that'd be fine.
Because then it would kind of fit the look too.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it wouldn't be hard to dirty it up, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Got to dress up as Star-Lord over the weekend. Went out and did a promotional event for Planet Comic-Con here in town. That was fun. It seems like it's been forever since I did any cosplay, and I did a bunch of upgrades of this cosplay a couple of years ago, so I was like, oh, shit. Wonder if this still fits, because I kind of put on some fat. It's okay, though. It happened during the pandemic. Food! Pretty much. But, I'm not out of shape. Round is a shape, so we got that going for me, which is pretty nice.
Everything you're doing is bad.
I've got a sugar and sweet addiction that I'm trying to overcome, but you know, that's how we process trauma around here. Comfort food. Let's see, what else is in the news? Oh, yeah. So there is an Alien movie being made by Mr. Alvarez, who did the Evil Dead remake, and it's going to be a Hulu exclusive. I'm cautiously optimistic about it in concept, hoping that they'll go back to the thriller sci-fi roots of it more so than the action-packed shit. I want to be scared again in an Alien movie, not just have like action and gore. I want that thriller element.
Yeah. I just don't get scared at movies anymore.
Neither do I, but I would still like at least that element of a good thriller. I can still kind of be like, okay, I can see what they're going for here. Like, I can feel that, but like there's some movies I just don't even get that vibe.
I realized this a couple years ago when I was like going to bed, and I was like putting in horror movies to watch as I fell asleep. I was like, all right, this clearly isn't fucking with me anymore at all.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. It's like me going on a roller coaster. Like, you know, it used to be like the whole ride would be fun and thrilling. You get that pitted feeling in your stomach. And then now after like halfway down the first like slope on a roller coaster, I'm usually over and I'm just like, well, now we're just going fast, which is still pretty cool, but it's not as exciting as it used to be. So I don't know if that's just age or emotional numbness or whatever, but you know, it's fun.
And
any other exciting news that you guys have caught?
Gas prices are $3.79.
Yeah, I get my gas at Costco when I can. Let's get those savings.
You got to get it in bulk.
No, they just give you like a 30-cent discount.
It really sucks dick for those of us who drive for a living.
It's fucking brutal.
My profit margins are in the tank.
No one is tipping more. We're not getting paid more. If anything, we're getting paid less by these companies that just continuously find ways to give themselves more and the drivers less while charging the customers more. So they tip less too.
It's like a gradual process. Like you won't, you won't notice or something.
everything is up right now. Like, action figure prices haven't gone too crazy yet, but still, from stuff that was 19s, like typically 22 to 23 now. Even eating out's just getting crazy, man. Like Chipotle used to be able to go for about $10, and then it hit to 12, and now it's like damn near 15 to go there and get a burrito and a fucking drink, especially if you want guac on there. So you're like, God damn it, this shit's fucking insane.
They charge a lot for
They charge like $2.50, like you're getting a whole avocado, and they throw a lot of guac on there. But sometimes like you don't even need to throw that much on there. And
it's a little taste.
At that point, it's like charge me $1 and give me half as much of that. I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, that should be an option.
Because sometimes it's like I would like some rice and beans and other things with my guac.
Right.
Yeah, it depends on how they do it. So
Old man style.
Today, for lunch, I'm just gonna vent about it because I just gotta complain. So I love Chipotle, right? As a vegan, it's great options there. They got the new chorizo there, that's great. I had sofritas today with guac. There goes my voice. Jeez, Scoob. Jeez, Scoob. It was the worst fucking wrap burrito I've had in probably 5 years at least. Like the lady double wrapped it, and I didn't watch her like roll the burrito the whole way. I went up to pay, and I'm like, why is she double wrapping that?
Like two.
Oh, because they fucked it up.
No, the burrito itself,
tortillas?
it didn't even rip. That was the fucked up thing. I was like, what? Like, she folded it and all the guac squirted out all over the fucking foil.
Oh, fuck yeah, it did.
And so it was like everywhere. I was like, God damn it. So.
Did she lick it up?
No, I had
Did
to
you?
eat part of it with the fork.
I paid $2 for that.
I was a little upset, but it was still delicious, so.
Yeah, as the prices get higher and the quality goes down.
It's a rough market out there, so if you're having a hard time collecting stuff and enjoying life in general, I feel you. Because it's hitting everybody.
I got caught up on the show Ozark this last week.
Fuck yeah.
Because they have part 2 of season 4 coming out at the end of April, I think.
Yeah.
And it just makes me want to get into organized crime. Because I'm so broke.
Down in the Ozarks?
Anywhere.
You don't have to go very far.
Well, no, because there's the Kansas City mob is in that show. There's one organization that they
you can just join that.
I think they end up closing them down, like calling the feds on them because they're
life?
competition. No, that's in Lee's Summit in the show and stuff.
Yeah,
What?
there's some.
Lee Summit's in there?
Yeah,
mentioned.
That show, the United States of Terror. Have you ever
St.
saw
Joe's
that?
in it too.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that show, United States of Terror, took place in Overland Park, so they'd always reference like local shit.
Oh,
And that was a good series too.
I
That
watched
was
like
very
a
short-lived.
episode or two of it. It's Toni Collette's in that.
Yeah, she's great in that.
She's in The Sixth Sense.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, everyone's getting their panties wet over the pictures that Jurassic World's been posting of Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and God damn it, I just said it twice.
And
Two Sam Neills and Laura Derns.
Two Sam Neills, yeah, he's been cloned.
Jeff Goldblum?
Yes, and Jeff Goldblum, who we fucking met. While
Out of your mind, man.
Wayne and Garth, by the way, which is
Wayne
amazing.
and Garth Ghostbusters.
So, I don't really have a lot of other stuff in the news, man. I didn't really write much down before the show today, but...
Well, Kanye West is still going crazy with Pete Davidson.
Oh, yeah, the little claymation of him being buried alive in his video. You're like, okay.
That guy's a fucking nut job. Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
Or Ye. Or Yee. Or whatever they're calling him. Who cares? Fuck him.
Yeah, who the fuck does this motherfucker think he is? Prince? Like, you can't just go as the artist formerly known as. No, you can't do that.
Yeah.
He's so fucking mentally ill, it's not even funny, man. Like, that dude needs some serious fucking help.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that whole... one of the funniest things that come out of the situation is just that old SNL clip of Pete saying, like... Kanye came out and he's like, this is me off the meds. And he's like, yeah? Maybe take them. You know? Try it out. I think you need them.
Yeah, and he's like, I deal with that same shit you do, buddy, and
yeah.
I'm medicated. Nothing wrong with that. No shame in that. No shame in self-care.
And everybody's like talking about that new documentary on Netflix that just came out about him. And, you know, like, oh, he was so dedicated and all this other crazy shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine and whatnot, but like, guy's a fucking lunatic asshole still.
He's really gone off the deep end recently. Before he was controversial, and it seemed like he was trying to be controversial, right? So I was kind of dismissed a lot of that, and now he's just fucking off the rocker.
Like his MAGA phase and shit.
Yeah, him in the White House with Donnie.
He is trying to be O.J. Simpson so fucking hard, but like if anything happens to Pete Davidson, the first motherfucker that's getting blamed is this dipshit.
Right.
So like you've already fucking ruined this. But I was like wondering, I wonder if Ye's bought a fucking Ford Bronco yet since they brought them back. I'm just waiting for him to like fucking shoot a music video of him driving around like that down the highway and spoof the O.J. thing.
I wonder, we should buy stock in Isotoner.
Isotoner. Fuck yeah.
That was the brand of the glove, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Isotoner, it's also the one Dan Marino was advertising for, which fucking makes it even worse.
Isotoner.
He finds it in...
It's the official gloves of NFL.
What do they say? If the glove don't fit, you must have quit. If the glove don't fit, it probably shrank. So there's that fun pop culture news. Nick, what do you have for news? You blew out a tire today, or yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
How much fun was that?
They should sue. They should have to fucking fill their holes.
Come on, kill me, I'm here.
Typically, they'll pay for any time if it's been reported, so you can usually call the city and see if that pothole has been reported before, and they'll pay for it. But if you're the first one to report it, they don't pay
in the
out.
middle of fucking nowhere, though.
Doesn't matter. Call in and report
Well,
it.
that's what I mean. It's probably not.
Do it. Do it. Otherwise, you're just going to sit here and complain about spending money.
Yeah, blew my tire out, and then it started sleeting. In the middle of nowhere. Could have got cornholed at any time. No one would have known.
Huh. Well, somebody would have looked for you eventually.
There was a, what do you call the thing that goes around the corn on the cob that you shuck? It was on the ground right by my car.
The husk?
Husk, there you go.
The husk of a corn? That's why they call it corn
so
huskers?
There were some corn eaters out there.
Oh, yeah.
I would have literally...
Children of the corn.
I would have got cornholed by a corn on the cob.
Not bad.
Ridged. For my pleasure. You still making your Batman list?
I just was filling in my gap.
Front Row Video Reviews with the Frog Brothers Podcast.
There's 11 Batman movies.
No, there isn't. Oh, we're counting 60.
66, 89, Returns, Forever, and Robin, Begins, Dark Knight Rises,
BVS?
Batman vs. Superman, Justice League, both count, I think.
And I didn't think we counted Justice League when we made our list last time.
I think it counts enough because he's in a lot of it, you know.
Yeah.
And he's
no. Can it be?
You count that and the Snyder one.
Can it be Whedon or Snyder, or do we got to list both?
Doesn't matter. Just same.
If it's Snyder, that's a big difference, though. Where I put it on my list.
They are counted as the same movie on this list. Yeah, I don't give a shit either way.
I don't think we count. I don't think we.
Now,
do.
just to be clear.
But first, we got to talk about the Batman.
That's a separate video.
God damn it, Nick. I was over here doing the epic voice, and you're like, whoa, the Batman.
The Batman.
I'm Batman. So, Batman, the Batman.
I'm not Batman. I'm Man-Bat.
I'm Man-Bat. That's something that needs to happen. So, the Batman was an interesting movie. I'm going to go off and say the thing I loved the most about it was that we actually got to see Batman be a detective.
I think that's the probably the most popular internet comment as well.
We got to see him be a detective a lot.
Yes, we got to see him doing the research, and it wasn't like... And when you say that, it wasn't just the fact that he was the detective. It was he was using like regular methods, and he was using his own intellect to solve some of the Riddler's puzzles and things.
I think my favorite part, though, is when Batman is at the very end. He's like, "What's in the box?
What'd you
in
do?
the box?
What'd you do?"
It's a Seven joke.
I know.
Get it?
Mm-hmm. But that's what he said.
Who? Oh, yeah.
He's like, "What did you do?
Where are they?
Now
Where are the drugs going?"
So I said what I really liked about it. What I didn't really like about it was this movie was fucking 3 hours.
That's not so bad unless you're in a movie theater and you got to pee a lot.
Exactly.
If you're at home and you can pause it.
My thing,
or break it up into different parts.
Rewatching it at home would be great, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most.
You can watch an hour one night.
But the way this is set up, is going to be like the series they've already spun off with the Penguin and everything else, and the Arkham show they've talked about, and the Gotham Police Department show was on hold. It wasn't technically canceled.
That's another bit of news we could have
They said it's just not happening now.
I'm pretty sure that is just what I read is that they didn't cancel that and do this new one. They just focused that one to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's not like they canceled one and came up with an idea for a new
they were
one.
Doing Arkham instead.
Yes, but that's what they're doing. They're just making that show about that instead. Is
right.
From my understanding, they're not canceling one and hiring a new staff to come up with a new concept. They're probably just using the same fucking people.
Yeah, Matt Reeves made a comment about it, basically saying that they'd spun that off. Warner Brothers didn't like the Gotham Police Department show concept because it was supposed to take place a year before this movie, showing
Batman's
a
first
corrupt
year.
cop working with Gordon and everything. So,
and that gives you what, a season's worth?
Yeah, it
of
basically
potential. That's it.
Yeah, it's just a mini.
I mean, you'd have to jump forward and whatnot, but
or the first season could just be the first year, and then the second season could take place after the movie or whatever. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with just doing a limited series one season.
No, I mean, if you go look at the Marvel route, they've done some of those. Some of those series maybe one, or they may retitle it for the second season or do other crossovers. So whatever, I get it. Storytelling, it's fine.
And if these shows do well, maybe they'll go and revisit the PD idea. But
it was pretty refreshing. I did like some of the take on Batman's uniform was pretty cool. Like, it wasn't slick and immediately over the top. I liked how you could see that he just had like a nice pair of like boots on and shit. And the cape, I really liked how the way the cape sat on him. It didn't seem like it was, because all the other Batman stuff seems like it's been like heavily manufactured.
He's got
and
like a collar thing going on too, which I actually kind of liked.
The other thing that I really liked, how Batman was a fucking complete dick to Alfred. Because like they showed us that like he was very resentful of him and just that bullshit there. Like, even though he was helping him, like they still didn't have a great relationship until he almost lost Alfred, and then
like
you realized that that there's some stuff there. I appreciated that take where
it's like a stepdad kind of relationship where you're like, you're not my real dad kind of thing.
Yeah, and so none of the other movies have really explored that concept. Alfred and Batman have always been getting along great. I mean, there's been tension over ethics, but this one was like, man, you're a fucking dick. And so I appreciated that a little bit.
I appreciated the fact that there wasn't an excessive amount of Bruce Wayne. And they were really like, here's a lot of the fucking Batman.
A lot of Batman in this movie, which is ridiculous to say that the other movies don't have a lot of Batman.
Well, I watched The Dark Knight like 2 days after I watched Batman in the theaters, and I was like, wow, this is really like fucking James Bond Batman movie. Like, with the way his tech is, it's insane. Yeah. But they wrote it that way. I mean, it makes sense, but...
Well, it's like the Burton films are like, they're in like an ambiguous time frame. People are
very much like the animated series.
People are dressed like it's the 1950s.
There's like classic cars looking in there, but then there's also like modern.
But I love that aspect about
it. But the Nolan movies were clearly the 21st century in every way.
Yeah.
And this one kind of has more of a timeless feel to it. Definitely more than the Nolan films.
Well, it's more comic booky in the sense that it doesn't feel like it takes place in our reality, unlike the Nolan stuff.
And that was the point. It was supposed to be the real world, kind of.
The other thing I liked about this was how much closer to New York this felt.
The accents.
Yeah.
Everyone, a lot of, especially the Penguin.
You had that real vibe that Gotham was, the replacement for New York City. The city felt huge. Well, it felt like, they even kind of explained that Batman can't be everywhere at once.
Well, in the comics, Gotham City is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So that kind of works anyway.
But, I mean, they basically explained it as kind of that setting without calling it New York, right? Whereas Marvel just fucking uses New York.
This one honestly does feel a lot like, if you're going to compare it to anything, most of all, it feels like the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix.
So it could have worked.
It doesn't feel exactly like the same, but it feels closest to that.
It could have worked if they were the same universe. I would buy it. Different directors and stuff like that will make it feel a little different.
But the griminess of it all, like the city looked very dirty, very run down. There and definitely some questionable parts of town.
The sadness, the whole thing of maybe Bruce Wayne's dad was kind of a dick.
Yeah, that was a great concept. I honestly
in both
truly
of those
loved
movies.
that. Yeah,
well,
like
Batman always thinks of his parents as like this
infallible people.
ideal version of humans.
Well, they showed his mom had
But he had,
mental
like,
illness,
yeah.
and his dad was trying to hide that. And then Alfred did a good job of saying basically he would do anything for your mom. But there's still that convolution and ambiguity there that you just don't know. Like, right? You just have to accept the fact that Bruce has idolized these people, and he watched them turn human in front of him in a way that he didn't expect. Yet he still is able to focus on his mission because he lost him. But the number one thing they did right in this movie, they didn't fucking make me watch his parents die again. Because I've fucking seen that so many times, I never need to see it again.
Yeah.
Like on film or in any series, right? You just don't need that. Like, everyone knows that. Unless we went like 15 years without any kind of Batman media and you wanted to retouch that, whatever. But
Well,
that's
it'll
not gonna
eventually
happen.
be okay again, but not for a while.
It's not so bad if you don't have reboots of the Batman every so many years, so you're seeing it again and again.
Yeah,
and
but
again.
even when you look at the 89 series that started, like each one of those movies, besides Returns, kind of had that flashback scene because they had a new Batman, so they kind of had to shoehorn that in there.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that then.
They changed the killer of Batman's parents too.
Yeah.
In what?
Those movies.
The old one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Joker, yeah.
Even though by Alfred being the same Alfred in there and Robin being the same Robin, like some of these other casts.
You ever dance with the devil in the pale moonlight?
Yeah, interesting stuff there. Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman was great. I like that take on Catwoman where she's already the anti-hero you expect her to be.
I liked her better than Anne Hathaway's.
Yeah.
But
I like Anne Hathaway. I just didn't like her Catwoman.
Same. I mean, it's fine. But
I didn't like that movie.
But this, the Zoe Kravitz one also didn't feel an anti-hero enough. She just felt like was just way too in line with Batman right away, which I just would have liked to see more conflict
but I think that's
with that.
just how it is in this.
I mean, clearly, but I
maybe
just,
now that she's run off at the end of this one, maybe she'll become more of a criminal-like.
I don't know. I mean, you could tell that she really wanted to fucking kill people, and Batman has that ethic in this one where he's not going to be the killer, right? So they're kind of staying true to that, which some of the other movies had kind of gone ambiguous about. We didn't necessarily see him killing people, but some of the shit he did to people on screen would have fucking killed them.
Yeah.
So I like that aspect, but she really wanted to kill people, so...
I like how she was used in the film, because this movie could have been overdone if there was too many villains.
Yeah, but to your point, she could have done some more villainous shit there before she kind of works with him there, but they immediately try to establish that, like, hey, they're looking out for your friend, and, like, she's going against her normal ethics to handle this shit this way. But I thought her performance was great. It's just some of the writing around that could have been better to portray her more as a villain before she was kind of doing...
Yeah, I like her look.
And I also, honestly, I think the Riddler could have been a little more clever, but, you know.
The Riddler was the kind of the odd entity in this
I
one.
enjoyed the shit out of his performance and most of the things he did. I just think it could have been more clever and, like, oriented. Like, if they had taken more inspiration from, like, 90s crime movies where there's, like, weird plots and intricate details and stuff that's revealing and stuff like that, which, I mean, I guess you don't want to necessarily do that, but I think that's one thing that's why Dark Knight works so well, because it's not just a superhero movie, it's one of the best crime movies in general, like, because you are so invested in the Joker in that movie and the way the creepy and weird shit that he does that's so entertaining. I mean, that's obviously why that movie works so well. It's not because Christian Bale, it's because fucking Heath Ledger. But
yes, he's the movie. Yeah.
But this movie is Batman. Like,
yes,
Batman steals the fucking show.
Well, it's not 89 where Batman isn't top billing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting with the Riddler. Like, I really enjoyed this take on the Riddler because with modern politics and shit, you could easily see somebody going this route. And you see that he has this online following that he built.
Yeah, that's very...
Which I thought was very kind of in touch with certain things.
Which we have to talk about. People are talking about how they're joking. They're like, I have more followers than the Riddler. Well, obviously, this is like a dark web website where people had to log in and make
Do you have
profiles
followers
for
that are
going
to wear masks and kill politicians for you?
Right.
No.
Yeah, and so he's talking about having 500 people there, but he still has what?
He's got an army of 500 people, not just followers.
Approximately 20 people there that agree with him politically. It almost felt like, which is so fucking weird because this movie was already shot, but it almost felt like some of the...
Oh, before the
January 6th shit,
riot,
where like right before like some of that online following of people influencing others to make bad decisions.
Well, that's the thing. Now that you watch this movie, you don't think that's unrealistic. You're like, well, of course, a psychopath could get these people to follow him and kill.
Yeah, when they all showed up there, you're like, oh fuck, because he's already in jail, and
We've
at that
seen
point,
it. We've lived it.
And the other thing I really thought was a nice touch, like in those web chats, like they're identifying shit he's wearing in his video, like fucking prop makers and shit, like cosplayers, basically saying, you can get this at this Gotham City,
Don't
whatever.
forget the duct tape.
Yeah, the duct tape, the goggles, all that shit. I thought that was pretty clever of him. The only thing is, though, this Riddler had no element of fun to him at all, which I felt was kind of missing. But they kind of show that at the end, like where like he's kind of really this hyped up kind of a guy, but they didn't show that at the beginning. So I felt like
when he's in Arkham, he kind of got that more. Yeah.
I felt like they could have had some scenes of just him doing shit in the background, kind of like planning and plotting, but to make him an enemy that's really in the background, since he's not really the main focus on this, right? He's the villain, but he's not.
He's the villain in the
primary
shadows.
villain, right? There's other stuff going on, right?
He's not. He doesn't have a shit ton of screen time for a 3-hour movie.
He's like a catalyst.
Exactly.
To everything that happened to the other characters.
And when you think about it, if they're trying to set up a bigger universe for this, they did a great job because we got the Penguin in there without him being kind of the head boss.
It's Penguin Begins.
Basically, yeah.
Because his TV shows, like now he's got Falcone out of the way. He can
and Falcone being in there was great too because that's one we
even though it's Jesus.
Yeah.
And that was a little distracting. But.
Really?
What?
You find that distracting? Have you never seen him in other movies?
I don't know. There was something about him in this where...
Have you seen Barton Fink?
I don't know.
See, I thought he was great in this.
No, he's great.
But
I do think about Jesus, though.
But he's...
See, I don't even... That's not where I first even think of him from. I think of him in, like, Barton Fink because that's a weird... It's another Coen Brothers movie with him and John Goodman, but he's, like, much more subdued.
I think I have seen that.
And then I think of Transformers because he's the agent in that.
Well, yeah, I think of him in Transformers because he's so goofy in that.
And have you ever seen Secret Window?
Yeah.
He's
he's
intimidating as hell in that.
Oh, he was the...
Yeah, he's the dude.
The guy in the hat or whatever?
You stole my book.
Yeah.
No, he's...
I didn't even think that was... I didn't think about that being
He's
him.
versatile.
Yeah.
He was great in this because...
I'm not saying it as a negative or an insult. Or
he's not outright intimidating at first, but then you realize like you're fucking with him because he's carrying that charisma that a crime boss would need.
He has the charisma of being...
Which typically they all try to come across to be a hard ass, but he did a great job. And then I love how Bruce was so conflicted about all that shit.
Him and his dad. Yeah.
Him and his dad and like what he did and all that. I thought that really worked out pretty well.
A little unnecessary to have them be related.
The
Catwoman
death and oh yeah.
I just it's one of those things that's always in fucking movies and people and shit like that. I'm just over it.
Somebody said that was based off like the New 52 for the DC.
Even if it is
reboot they did, but at the same time,
just because it's based on a comic doesn't mean that comic was any fucking good.
You mean the small world thing where everything's connected and related?
A little too much.
There's just too many references and connections.
Like I'm not saying it's the worst. I'm not saying it ruins the movie or anything. It's just one of those things that makes me. I definitely go to it when I'm watching it.
It feels too forced. The fact that he killed her mom would have been enough for me. It didn't need to be her dad.
Well, he killed her friend. That should have been enough. She didn't need to be related. Or
he didn't kill her. That cop did. So there's several plot points
but
going on
it was
there.
Connected to him still, right? Yeah.
The other thing I loved is how they showed how fucking corrupt the Gotham Police Department was, because that was a huge thing in the early Batman years, always in the story.
Yeah, that's the most interesting to me when Riddler's doing all that stuff. Like as far as the Riddler goes, like the first half of that movie with Riddler fucking with the police and the DA and all that stuff, that was cool.
Yeah, because he's not quite at this level because he's such a mysterious character, but he's going for that Thanos.
They're leaving like an easy spot to put Harvey Dent in the next movie too.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying they should, but they could easily now.
Well, yeah, because the DA in this movie, does he die? Oh, he's the one that gets blown up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're setting
so,
things up
he'll be the
there.
new next DA, yeah.
So they did a good job with that, but I really appreciated, though, how he's, like, almost proving the point with the audience where you're not even, like, mad about what he's doing to some degree. It's like the Killmonger in the Black Panther or Thanos to some degree. Like, some of their execution is wrong, but their thought process is kind of on point. Like, we need to expose this corruption.
We need to get rid of corrupt people.
Right. Well, that's what's very interesting is where he's, like, pissed off when he's rejected by Batman, basically.
Yeah, because he's like, he thinks they're on the same wavelength, yeah.
Which it's like, you almost are. Almost. It's like...
The restraint that Batman
just won't.
Batman is trying to be Martin Luther King, and the Riddler is Malcolm X.
Ooh, that's actually a very good point in this.
So Malcolm X killed people?
Which makes sense because...
He looks outside.
I'm just making... It's the same thing where they... that's Magneto and Xavier. That's literally what they were kind of based off of.
Yeah.
So I was just literally stealing that
thought
comparison.
Process. Yeah, no, that, but that works really well, though, for this point. I mean, I think it creates some good tension there. And I like how they didn't kill off all the villains. Like, that's usually the one thing you're like, you can't just fucking kill the villain off.
Well, they stopped doing that for like the last 5 or 6, 7, 8 years at this point. They've done that a little bit.
But yeah, the first
3 even
movies.
Joker didn't die in Dark Knight even. Then there's just no reference in Dark Knight Rises, of course, because...
killed him, I guess.
Well, you almost should have edited a scene in there because then in Dark Knight Rises, you're like, well, where's Joker? Because he would have obviously been having some fun here.
Yeah.
I do like Scarecrow appearing in that movie, but...
Yeah, they could have easily shown, like, Bane fucking killing the Joker because he had no time for his nonsense or something, but whole other movie, whole other universe.
I don't know if it would work unless just somebody kills him. That kind of undermines his...
But I think this is doing a great job for DC of, like, universe building in a way that seems planned and thoughtful.
Let's talk about what Gotham looked like, the aesthetic of the city, you know?
Yes.
Let's talk about first of all, like, Batman 89, like, what that looks like, right? A lot of matte paintings.
Let's talk about Batman forever.
And then sets.
Not enough neon signs.
And not a lot of big sets. But I like the way it looks, you know, for the most part, especially for the time. Batman Returns is pretty much the same thing. A little bit bigger.
Batman Forever feels even smaller to me in the cities because they use the
Batman
same set
Forever,
over
yes.
and over. Yeah.
Batman Forever, they also started implementing CGI and I think other shit. And like you said, it's completely changed into a little more of a neon environment.
I thought Returns felt small. They had that.
It does feel small.
Yeah.
Returns feel small because they used that little city square over and over and over again.
And it was a small.
And that was their
square.
biggest. Well, that was their biggest set, but it was still very small compared.
It felt like a small town movie.
Yeah. Batman Returns definitely feels smaller because you don't. Well, I mean, you have some of the other stuff, but you don't have all the industrial settings like the other one. You don't have as many of the matte painting shots. And then obviously,
well, you show skyscrapers.
By the time you're at Batman and Robin, there's like lots of all those epic big statues and stuff, and some of it looks cool, but it just looks a little too far from Batman, especially with what you've already established. And then, okay, you have the hyper-realistic versions from Batman Begins,
Chicago,
which were Chicago and Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And this one, I think, is New York City, where they've doubled, and they've added, obviously, lots of other shit to make it look completely like its own thing, which I like, that they're not just using shit that looks like New York City. There's a few places where you're like, clearly this is a real set, like the where the subway's over the city, that looks like Chicago has a lot of that, but I'm pretty sure what they were doing was in New York City.
I thought they shot a lot of this in London, did they not?
That could make sense too. Oh, they did shoot it entirely in London, I think, actually.
Wasn't there London and Scotland? I think I remember
London and then maybe a little bit in Australia and some of the
But a lot of like the biggest big establishing shots look like completely made up cities, or at least heavily altered versions.
Yeah, to your point, a lot of the other movies where they failed is like they do these like sweeping city scenes that don't ever feel like you're actually there later on when you're down on the street. Like this movie, everything felt like it was one connected spot. It had that New York vibe of like the 5 boroughs, like where you're in a really bad part of town or you're in kind of a better part of town, and then you really get a good wide variety of stuff. And I liked how even the Batcave was kind of shitty in this, right? The Batcave, which was like the old...
It was like an underground subway. It's kind of like someone said like Ninja Turtles too.
Yeah, it had those vibes. It had the old abandoned cars and...
Oh, I think he's playing with the death whistles.
Let's not eat those, buddy.
It's like, that one's got a bone texture.
Yeah. He's gonna... that's probably what he thinks.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, dude.
You brought me a bunch of
cannot
toys.
eat these.
You brought me some bones.
It's like, these taste like shit.
I really like Jim Gordon. I like him as Gordon.
Yeah, he's good.
And how he was used. It was almost like a buddy cop movie a little bit.
Well, yeah, I liked how at first it seemed like, oh, people are more approving of Batman, even though some of them are kind of like obviously against.
Gordon is. The rest of the cops didn't seem...
Well, yeah, but at first it seemed like some of them were open to it. I was like almost getting a Batman 66 vibe in the opening scene, other than the one guy.
Where's Chief O'Hara?
Right, like...
Come on.
We call him on the bat phone and shit.
Saints preserve us.
I thought that was a good vibe, though, that you showed like the good cops were kind of like curious about him in a way that you know, they just didn't immediately dismiss him.
Either way, Gordon was the one,
obviously
obviously,
hate him,
more interesting, and then...
And he was good in the fact that you could see the relationship building in a different way than
Let's
they
face
did.
it, Batman 89 Gordon and that version is kind of just shit.
Yeah.
It just sucks ass. Gary Oldman, pretty good. I don't know how accurate it is to the comics or not, but I like him.
He looks like Gordon really well in that one.
I like his portrayal too enough.
I like his family element in that Nolan trilogy and all that element that you kind of see him
There's a
outside
little
of
bit
this.
much of that though, like
It's kind of forced, but
still.
This one, I feel like you really kind of get that beginning relationship, and you're going to see these guys grow together as kind of peers, and that trust is going to be there. And I really hope they make a reveal at some point in time where he reveals himself to be Bruce Wayne to him, because he's like, "Come on, man, I've known you a year, and you don't tell me who you are."
I don't even know if he's ever did that in the comics.
But I feel like this is kind of ripe for that with that setup. I mean, maybe not now, but in a couple movies or a couple series from now, that could be something that there's that trust level there. And I did like some of the nods they had. They had the nod to 89 where they wanted to pull up his mask and like look under there, and
Oh, the cops.
Gordon stopped them from that, but that was very reminiscent.
There's a couple times he's lost consciousness in this movie, and I'm like, fuck, they're gonna pull his mask up.
And they did a good job of kind of explaining that. I like how Gordon's stopping the fight in all the jail scenes with all the cops. That was pretty cool.
Which movie was it where it shocked them when they tried to pull the mask off?
Dark Knight. Because Joker then...
Was it Dark? I thought it happened in one of the original 4 or something.
It's Dark Knight because he's laying on the ground. It's right after Batman is on the bat pod and he's driving towards Joker and he's like, hit me, hit me, hit me. And he falls because he just doesn't hit him. And then one of the Joker's goons goes up to him and tries to take it off and is shocked. And then Joker's like laughing around him and he goes,
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew it happened in one of the movies.
I just watched it, so I remember.
It makes sense.
There's some nice little touches, but like I said, the Batcave being like so kind of shitty, and like you see them not having the Batmobile to begin with, he's just kind of using a regular motorcycle, really gives that early Batman vibe to it, right?
I liked that stuff, yeah.
I mean, because the Batmobile can be way overused in scenes, and like I loved.
He spent a lot of time revving it up.
Well, it's kind of this.
I felt like he could have been
supercharged
chasing.
sports car, right? It felt like a good compromise between the '66 Batmobile that just felt like a supercharged kind of a car that anyone could get their hands on, and the '89 Batmobile had that jet engine,
Well, it also felt like a little bit of the rough edge of the Tumbler and shit, but without being stupid and fucking.
Yeah, I never liked
I
that.
hated the Tumbler always.
Yeah. I mean, I liked the justification that was a military vehicle that wasn't used, but
it's the realistic take. Like, how would?
But
we
beyond
have a
that, yeah, to
realistic
me, like it
Batmobile?
was boring. It was never fun.
This
to
one's
look
more
at.
realistic and cool. It reminds me of Mad Max.
Yeah, this.
Yes, it does. It's very much a Mad Max type vibe, and it's like something that really explained that he's working on his own shit.
A lot of the early comics, it was just a kind of a car that he put a fucking bat face on or whatever.
Yeah, and I think this
it wasn't
really,
always some made-up original design tank.
It really worked for me too. The motorcycle stuff, even at the end, like the Batmobile, even with the jumping and stuff, he's still using other modes of transportation.
In the Nolan universe, I always assumed that by the end of the trilogy, we would get a more normal Batmobile. But
yeah,
maybe that's something we'll see an evolution of Batmobiles in this universe. Maybe.
I don't know. The other thing that works about the motorcycle, and I really want to see him carry it forward, is just the fact that when you're in a city that big, it's really fucking difficult to
You're
get
not
around.
You're not going to get around traffic in that giant fucking.
Yeah, you're never going to get
50-foot
through traffic
Batmobile.
in a giant fucking Batmobile. Like, right? If you've been to New York and you've been through Manhattan.
Well, I think he uses the Batplane a lot in the comics,
Yeah.
That's another thing. Just fly everywhere, which makes more sense, I think.
Yeah.
The Batboat.
It doesn't feel like they're to that point in this movie. Or in this universe yet. Yeah. A bat boat would be fine, right? Because anyone can have a boat. A helicopter even makes more sense than that because you could just use the helicopter. He's a billionaire after all.
And then you drop the ladder.
Yeah, and he can have bat shark repellent spray.
Yeah. But yeah, all that kind of shit.
Imagine if by the third movie it just goes off the rails and it's just silly bullshit.
Well, I mean, wouldn't be the first time it happened.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's been set up before.
I still love Batman Forever, but it is comparatively like when you watch it in sequence, it goes off the rails, and then it goes off the rails even further. So
somehow it rides the line without going over it like Batman and Robin. But
and then the Nolan universe, everyone's like, oh, that's so grounded in reality, and that's for a long time I really appreciated that about this. But the Batman did a good job too of stuff that was even over the top in that like looking back on it now, to your point, that James Bond vibe, that like action movie vibe to it.
I think Nolan's maybe a little too real world.
Dark Knight is still the best out of those three by far.
Oh, hands down. But Heath Ledger is so compelling as the Joker in there, and his motivations, like you don't even have any for him. And then the Two-Face you get in that's pretty based
going
in
back
it.
to bringing Harvey Dent into this, I think introducing Harvey Dent in The Dark Knight, having him turn into Two-Face and dying all in the same movie was too much. So
well, what I
hopefully
see,
they drag it out a little bit in this trilogy.
What I see in this so far is like they're doing some great stuff with these villains. They're not killing them off. They're going to show them what they are, and I really hope they can do some Batman 66 stuff where they have multiple villains working together just in that aspect because they're not dying off.
I don't know how that works.
Not that many, but I'm just saying like that overlap because they're all going to kind of run in the same circle.
Has that been done in a serious manner well yet? Well, yes, Joker and Two-Face and Dark Knight.
But they're not working together. They're just kind of overlapping.
They kind of work together a little
Talia al Ghul.
They didn't ever make a plan together.
Yeah, but Talia al Ghul and Bane and stuff. And
but you didn't know that until the very end.
No.
So you didn't really see that interaction.
No, and then even like the Scarecrow was just kind of his own character.
I did like Scarecrow though a lot.
Scarecrow,
but
was
not so much the whole other thing.
I want to see Scarecrow in a less realistic movie, maybe, where he's wearing the whole getup.
Yeah, a little more. Yeah, a little wackier.
And they really lean into that fear toxin and the hallucinations and shit.
I could see them doing something that's a little bit more online with it because, like I said, the bat suit to me at first when I first saw it, I was like, but when you look at everything else, you're like, okay, that makes sense. He's really figuring this shit out.
All the stills and stuff like that, I never was impressed. But watching the movie, I was like, I really like this bat suit. And then when I went and watched Dark Knight, comparatively, I was like, ooh, this Batman looks like shit. Like, I don't know what it is. It doesn't look good.
I was never a fan of that, yeah.
Well, the thing is in Dark Knight, too, like the first 20 minutes, it's a different suit. Because then he gets the upgrade to where he can turn his head and stuff. It's not the rubber suit. Like the one he wore in Batman Begins. So eventually it transitioned into being a better suit. But it's still, like, the way it frames his face is different. Like, it covers all the way down here. So, like, his face is covered like this. But Pattinson's is just like this. So you can see all of his cheeks. Yeah. It just works better.
Was he doing those exercises with the mouth thing to make that really chiseled jaw? His jaw is really...
It could be.
Sharp.
I mean, I don't know. I'd love to see some screen
That's probably why he's Batman.
You ever see that meme with that guy that like way overdid it and it's like Quagmire?
Yeah.
Looked like he was doing that exercise.
And everyone was worried about Pattinson, and I thought he did a great job. His Bruce Wayne wasn't so over the top.
I don't think everyone was worried about him. People who are cultured and have seen movies were not.
The average moviegoer was, I would say, the
average. The guy from Twilight?
Yeah. But how many times has this happened with Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck? And it's like everybody's like shits on whoever's cast, and it always seems to work out.
I don't know. I guess that's a good way.
Same with Heath Ledger, and
it's so much of just. It's really when you look at it, it's just a way to make press about a movie being made. That's all it is, right?
Heath Ledger is a very comparable actor to Pattinson too, because he was in a lot of like romantic style movies, and then started doing weird shit.
I hate about you.
Yeah, and then he wanted to like have his
Brokeback Mountain, where it's like all of a sudden an artsy fucking movie.
Yeah.
And I mean,
You get a gay Joker.
Basically.
People say that probably.
And I thought all that was great with the villain. As the Riddler was seeing his reveal kind of later on in the end, I thought worked out pretty well. I loved him being apprehended at the diner in there.
Which was already in the fucking trailers.
Yeah. I don't remember. Is it explained why he wanted to be caught?
Because he had the other people there.
So he could be safe with Batman at Arkham and watch the city get flooded. He's like, we'll be safe here together.
They had a plan to get out? I don't know.
I'm sure you have a zipper on that thing. Take it out.
Maybe those guys were going to break him out until Batman beat them all.
Riddle me this, Batman.
I mean, I honestly think he just thought Batman was going to just side with him and break him out. Because they're both, again, you have that same thing. Two people with the same goals, end corruption, reduce crime, yet drastically different methods of execution. And it was interesting to see a Riddler being so cruel, because that's typically not the Riddler we know, but when he justifies himself, he's like, I had to force myself to do this because I'd never had this, and the only thing I didn't like about him was that kind of little bit of a spiel, like, I've always been overlooked, he was an orphan through that, the backstory there wasn't really an issue, but it was that kind of common speech of, you have been picked on.
You have been bullied.
Yeah, your entire life.
From Answer the Call.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm so over the people doing that with the
drawing the
characters and
angry ghost.
Yeah. Like, I just don't need that, right? You can have that be, as you're writing, you can have that in mind, but I don't need them to.
That was a reshoot for Answer the Call, too. And that's sad. You have been bullied your entire life. Yeah, no, they do that a little much. But other than that, I liked him. And Colin Farrell was great as the Penguin. We haven't talked a lot about him, but he had a lot of interesting things to say, too. Had a lot of good dialogue.
He's a compelling villain in this, right? And
it's an interesting take. I mean, it's just different Penguin than we're used to. Most people are only used to, like, the Danny DeVito. Or
Burgess Meredith.
I was about to say, yeah, the 66 behind that if they're a little bit older and stuff. And then...
Unless you played the Arkham games, you might be a little more familiar with this.
But that still that doesn't hold up to what I'm saying, like live action, you know, because there's obviously Batman the animated series. The Penguin is sort of a combination of the 66 and DeVito, is what it feels like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not like a mutant fish. But he's
that's what was
shaped
weird
like
about
him.
the animated series is it kind of made it feel like it was a sequel to the movies, but then Joker's alive. They called Joker Jack Napier in it, and it's got the same theme.
Yeah.
There's some very nice elements that tie to that. But to your point, yeah, the Penguin's very compelling villain because you're kind of seeing him... Clearly he's somebody that people are fucking scared of. And then he's got his own stuff, and obviously he's acting in self-interest, self-preservation, so... I found him compelling, and I'd love to see how that series goes. I'm excited for it, because that makeup, he looked very terrifying, and just that, like, fucking way of, like... Just that fucking terrible acne scarring and probably being in a lot of fucking fights.
Mm-hmm. And the nose, obviously, you know, being very iconically shaped, similar to the 66.
There's no umbrellas, though.
That is true. If he just carried around an umbrella and used it as a cane, you know, a little bit, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
Just give me that. And it's raining plenty in this movie, so he could have easily been carrying around
He would have had an excuse to have an umbrella.
See, now there's
You don't need to give him a top hat. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But you can give him the cigar thing at least once, you know. At least once.
Well, I bet in the series we'll see people walking in around smoking.
Yeah.
I bet in the series we'll see that. The one
No smoking in the movies.
The one line, though, they could have thrown in there to really tie it together was when they left him fucking outside. He's like, you couldn't even give me a fucking umbrella in the rain?
No, they'd already said an F word already.
No, but yeah, that would have been great, though. You couldn't give me a goddamn umbrella in the rain? I mean,
No,
as angry as he was.
We don't need those cutesy references.
That would have been that one would have been passable just based on the circumstance, because
And
it
then,
didn't have it.
Catwoman's going through Batman stuff, and she finds an old Crunch Bar wrapper in his pocket.
Yeah. I like the Catwoman's mask in this, you know, just the torn up mask with the kind of the ears. It wasn't too over the top.
Yeah, I like the ears.
Because that's, I mean, I guess that's always a tough thing for...
The way she was using that rope almost made me think of the whip. Remember she'd roll it up, and it was like...
It was, yeah, it was. I mean, it's just kind of showing she's skilled. And she is a good fighter, too. I like that.
Yeah.
The burglar thing, like, you just got a glimpse of that. I really wish you got to see more of that.
For a 3-hour movie, you'd think.
I know. That's kind of what I was thinking, so...
Yeah, to see her criminal behavior for a little bit before they, you know, meet
And
up.
then they kind of did that thing where you think, you know, once they apprehend the Riddler that it's going to be over, and then you, like, check the time, and you're like, no, we've got about another 40 minutes or whatever in this. So what's that going to do? And that worked out pretty well. The pacing...
The ending bothers me only because the Riddler literally isn't doing anything. It's his followers.
Yeah.
For, like, the last 30 minutes. And it's just kind of like, all right, he's sitting in a jail cell, and he's not even, like... You're not even showing his reactions to what's happening much or anything like that, because he's just sitting there. He doesn't know what's happening at that point.
But that almost works very much like in that Trump-esque stuff where Trump talks a lot of shit but fucking is willing to let everyone just do stupid shit for him.
Yeah, but I don't want Trump comparisons in my Batman. Just let me watch some Batman.
I know, but I'm just saying, man. Like
a
that
little
shit,
bit of realism in there's fine, but I don't need it that deep.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought of with the followers. It was kind of the Trumpers. But it wasn't like in your face and obvious.
QAnon is what I thought of.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. So,
did you guys think that Kravitz and Pattinson had chemistry? I heard complaints that they didn't have chemistry, but I thought it was all right.
They're fine. People always talk about these people have such great chemistry, and it's like, yeah, it really just depends. I mean, it's fine here, it's fine there. I don't know.
Well, I think they did a good job with the tension between them because they're curious
there
about
were stories
one
of them sneaking onto the Batman set at night and fucking on the Batmobile at night.
Yeah. No, but I mean,
I like to think
I do the same thing.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I mean, you've seen Stripes where he tries to sneak that lady back in there to see the RV.
Yeah.
Only it's gone. No, I think they had good chemistry when they needed it, right? It worked out well that they had this tension, there's this respect, there's this infatuation, because you find someone that's almost as fucking weird as you are, right? And you're trying to figure that out. And so I think they did a good job of not overplaying that, right? There's times where like they wanted to kiss and they didn't, so you just let shit be. I thought it worked fine.
I guess it could make sense for the first film, but I thought Batman was a little light on gadgets, maybe. Like he had the grappling hook. I felt like he needs more shit because he keeps getting shot.
Yeah.
Did he even hit anybody with the batarang? Or
he did the batarang.
Oh, he used that thing that like adrenaline or something at one point, didn't he?
That was cool.
That was interesting. That's at least something that's gadget-esque.
He got shot in the fucking stomach
there was
by a shotgun.
Like he had a hole in his costume made for it if he needed to inject it or whatever.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, there was a whole plunger spot for it. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was cool. I did like how the batarang like fit as a chest piece in his armor.
I thought it was a little cheesy. It was all right. But
it's made out of the gun that killed his parents. Is that right? I don't know how that would work.
Oh
though.
God, that's a little cheap. That's
what I heard. I don't know if it's.
Oh, I didn't see anything in the movie.
Because it looks like it's made
that.
out of like gun metal bits or something. But I don't know how he would have gotten the gun if they never.
As far as Batman having gadgets on his person, I thought it was just kind of a neat little clever way to have it on there instead of having shit that just flies from behind his belt.
Well, at the end of the movie, too, you realize when Batman's giving his little speech, okay, they're really trying to do some character development with Batman and make him basically...
Yes. Well, yeah,
he doesn't know what he's doing
that
in this
one
movie,
thug,
and he doesn't realize how he's fucked all this shit up, too.
Jim asked that one thug who he is, and he said, "I'm vengeance." And
yeah.
Batman's like, "Oh, that's what I said."
He's like, "Oh, fuck.
I'm just a fucking piece of shit like these guys if I don't watch it."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I think, good character development over a movie that long. You're going to see a different Batman later on. Bruce Wayne, I don't know if I love or hated.
There wasn't a lot of it, which is good.
I feel like
the amount I saw is fine.
No Bruce Wayne.
He's a very troubled Bruce Wayne at this point.
He's just Batman.
Exactly.
But I think he's gonna...
They've kind of made that thing before, but mostly with Michael Keaton, where he's like,
in the
Batman's his real identity, Bruce Wayne is his mask.
I don't mean just that.
Yeah.
But there's no alternate identity. It's just Batman.
He shows up as Bruce Wayne in this movie.
But he's Batman. He's not Bruce. You know what I mean?
Well, his Bruce
Wayne... He takes
Wayne...
the costume off, but he's still Batman. He's walking around with the masks on and stuff like that. But I think, because like the mayor says, you're not doing anything to help with your money.
I mean, obviously that's in the trailers and shit too, yeah.
But I think maybe going forward now that he says, I need to be Hope, and after what she said, he's going to be Bruce Wayne again. And use that alter ego to also do good. Where he's
I'm just saying, I was happy I didn't have
movie.
to see a bunch of Bruce Wayne in this doing shit like dating.
The other thing, we're having models around him all the time. I did appreciate that, right?
Yeah, we don't need
Which
that.
makes... The other thing that was interesting is we didn't see him doing anything with Wayne Enterprises, right? You know, we saw the old Wayne...
Is the Batcave...
orphanage that was closed under, and the Batcave was...
The Batcave's underneath Wayne Tower, right?
This Batcave was, right? And so that's another thing they can automatically move later out to Wayne Manor, because they didn't really show that, right? This is just under where he stays downtown. Which had that old school vibe in there in the house, but like you could clearly see at the top of the tower there, though, that it was interesting. What do you guys think of Andy Serkis as Alfred?
He's fine. Again, he wasn't in there a whole lot. Like there was like that first initial confrontation, and then kind of just a little bit sprinkled throughout the first half, and then he was just kind of in the hospital, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's just my personal preference. He's probably not he might be my least favorite.
Really?
Not that there's anything wrong with him. It's just my preference.
I like
what they did with it.
I liked the tension they had, and I liked how he wasn't in the second half of the movie because you're focusing so much on Batman, like all these side characters.
I thought he was dead.
Well, when they blew him up originally, you were like, okay, yeah, he kind of should be dead.
It's like, oh shit, they're gonna kill him.
But
I mean, they killed him in the comics a long time ago, and they brought him back, I think, after.
The comics, don't they just pick up their own new storylines all the time and shit too? So
sometimes,
there's like alternate storylines that don't fit the main continuity. Yeah. And then they reset the continuity all the time too.
That's what I mean. So like anytime they're like they killed Alfred, I'm like, yeah, that could be like a one-time thing though. Like
Yeah.
Well, I almost thought that Batman was gonna die when that thing was dangling, and he thought it was gonna fall and electrocute those people. Just the way they did the music and everyone's reaction to what he was doing, I thought he was just gonna. Like, are they going to kill Batman?
That'd have been funny.
Is this just a one-off movie? Is it going to do the James Bond thing?
That would have been cool, but they're not gutsy enough to do that, I don't think. Now, the thing that I did like about that, though, was after his earlier dialogue where he's like, I'm willing to die. Like, I'm not afraid to die.
Well, I think that's what it was. He could have died. He thought he was going to die. He happened to
He
live.
assumed he would have died doing that to save those people, and he was fucking content with it. He made that decision.
But after seeing No Time to Die, spoiler alert, it's like, yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, so.
You don't know the secret?
No.
Oh, okay.
So don't fucking ruin it for me.
Oh, he lives happily ever after.
I just watched Casino Royale for the first time, though, and that movie makes it for the first time in a long time. And it's actually, I was like, man, this is actually pretty slow for a Bond movie. There's lots of poker. But
that's a good comparison. I'd say that Casino Royale is like this, where it's like 2 hours, 45 minutes. It's a lot slower because it's really faithful to the novel.
And it also has a lot of what feels like confirming of the theory where James Bond is a code name, basically. It feels a lot like that in that movie to me.
It's
out the fucking asshole.
It's a separate continuity from the other ones, though.
Same actors.
Well, when you get to Judi Dench, and that was a fucking stupid ass mistake. But
they did it.
She's a different character, though. Like, they have two different real names, but I won't get into.
Well, they fucked that up. That
was a very bad idea.
The way I see it too, they consider it.
She was contracted to do more than the 4 she did with Brosnan, but they loved her or whatever else. But
if they consider it a separate timeline, they fucked that up.
They should have
with everything, marketing for the last 15, almost 20 years at this point.
But when you get to the third movie, Skyfall, it confirms that his parents were James Bond's parents, so not a code name.
Stupid then.
It wasn't handled well. Judi Dench should have been recast for sure.
So then, what's the rest of the timeline then? Now I'm just pissed off about these James Bond movies and don't even want to watch the new one.
Craig's his own contained universe.
He's the only one that's contained.
Yeah.
Fuck.
All the other movies are supposed to be the same.
I saw his other movies too. The other ones were shit.
The Daniel
Never
Craig
watched
movies?
them. The Quantum of Solace was I could wipe my ass with that one.
You should watch the last one though. It's good.
Ugh, I'm just pissed off now.
Yeah,
I ruined it.
Yeah. No, I would say that jumping back onto Batman, we can wrap this conversation up. But
and while we're talking about James Bond,
well, no, that Casino Royale conversation though, of just you're taking the time to do some world building, some character development, to try to understand some things in a way that's not typically done, right? Because taking a 3-hour cut of a Batman movie and releasing it as the first one for a new standalone thing that's outside of the DC universe of everything else. When DC's had so much fucking trouble, like, this is really well done. It gives you hope for more stories and serialized stories, right? Which has been an issue. And you don't have to kill off all the baddies. Like, you got all this potential here for the future.
I don't know, that argument doesn't sit well with me anymore. The killing baddies, because they literally haven't done it in like 20 years. The last 20 years, we haven't been killing the main villains off constantly, so I don't think. Like, literally since
the DC
Scarecrow didn't die.
The DC
Joker
universe,
didn't die.
movies did. Like Batman vs. Superman, they've killed off all those bad guys in those movies. In the DC universe.
No, I haven't watched them.
Yeah, they're killing.
Well, the Suicide Squad movies are killing villains off left and right.
Yeah, so in that world, they're killing a lot of them off. And Marvel's kind of hit or miss. They'll kill off ones as they need to, but...
Marvel definitely, but that's a little cheesier too. Like a different type of... Still...
But either way, I thought it was a pretty fresh take on it. I enjoyed it. I love the detective aspect, though. I got a kick out of that. And the realistic version of the Batsuit. It just felt like shit he would get. All the other Batsuits, even in the Nolan universe, it just felt like, here's a fucking rich guy that we've got all these parts for, and we're getting all this body armor and shit. And like this one feels like it's kind of a one-off.
I'm just pissed about James Bond now.
I know. I can see it in your eyes.
I'm just pissed.
Well, we can review those movies.
So we're gonna jump in and fucking rank the Batman movies now that we've seen the Batman.
Is that a separate video?
No. It is on YouTube, but it's...
This will be separate, so if you're just joining us...
It's not actually separate. It's separate in a sense that you guys don't understand...
Are we recording it now without a break?
This will be on the audio podcast, but on YouTube we'll split this off as its own little thing for a short video.
So
it will be both on the main channel and as well as part of the podcast on the podcast channel and on the audio feed.
Oh.
You can reuse it. Somebody may not want to hear the whole review right now and just want to hear how we rank this shit. So calm your tits, Nick. We can get some ice for him.
So we're ranking the Batman movies
right now.
Batman live action flicks.
What's your
number 11?
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
I wonder if Nick is trolling us again this time and is going to claim Ben Affleck is still his favorite.
Favorite what?
Batman.
Maybe, but not favorite movie.
Never even got his own movie.
But we also got to see Pattinson by the end of Pattinson's era to really judge. So,
all right, fair enough. So my number.
Do you want to know why Batman Robin's last, or
Why?
It's a little too stupid.
I think it's the most serious Batman. George Clooney's.
I wanted to see George. I want to see George Clooney in a serious Batman film. See how he does. He could do the Batman Beyond movie maybe instead of Keaton.
God. Number 11. Go ahead.
My number 11 is Justice League.
Yeah, same. Fucking done with that. Don't need it.
I placed Justice League based on the Snyder cut. The Whedon cut, yeah, might even put that below.
I refuse to watch the Snyder cut. I just don't give a fuck.
I watched the Snyder cut once. It's better than the Whedon cut, but I still don't give a fuck. It's just too fucking convoluted, too fucking long. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I don't know why they ended up releasing it as a 4-hour movie instead of like the episodic format that they said they were going to do. It's kind of weird.
I think it wasn't.
But they cut it up into chapters too, so you can dissect it.
All right.
What's your number 11?
Your number 10.
What was yours?
My number 11 was Justice League as well. That's what
I didn't
we're
hear
on
you
the
say
whole
that.
thing.
I didn't hear you say that. I put Dark Knight Rises.
I mean, it's not far off from where it is on my list.
It rubs me so wrong. I don't know.
My number 10 is Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice. Again,
same.
Don't give a fuck. I tried to like it.
That's the movie where I realized, okay, Ben Affleck isn't bad as Batman, but this movie sucks.
Yeah, Ben Affleck was fine.
As long as you acknowledge that Affleck's a good Batman, I don't care.
I'm not saying he's good necessarily. I'm just saying he's good
bad.
enough, but we didn't get a good enough chance to.
Right. Yeah.
I can't necessarily say he's a great Batman just because we haven't seen enough.
It's such a shame
of the Batman.
The fact that he never got a standalone just is stupid because the fact that he was so great.
Well, and they should have made it before they made Justice League.
And some
Batman
of it
versus Superman.
Yeah, but I mean, like with him, he's good as Batman because he's kind of a jaded prick. You know, he's obviously lost to Robin. And he's got some good tech in there. So I appreciated that. That was tech that we hadn't seen otherwise. So, okay, there's some things there that I liked. But the rest of the shit around that just makes me want to put the toilet paper over the turd that won't flush and just get it to go down.
All right, number 9.
10. No, he did do that.
No, what was yours?
Wait, what?
For Christ's sake, I have said it both times. And I'm trying to get through this so it's a reasonable amount of a video.
What's your number 10 out?
Batman versus Fuckface.
So I didn't hear that.
Okay.
I said same as soon as he said that.
I didn't hear you say same.
Well, then you're fucking deaf.
I was talking. Yeah, I wasn't listening to you.
So my number 9.
Then you're stupid.
My number 9 is 66. I love it, but it's not.
My number 9.
I like my serious. I like my Batman more serious.
My number 9 is Batman and Robin.
My number 9 is Dark Knight Rises.
So you like Batman and Robin better?
Fuck yeah. It's way fun.
Well,
Batman and Robin is... I'm not going in terms of...
If you judge it for what it is, yeah.
This is not even... This is my favorites. It's not, this is the best film, this is good quality versus... Otherwise, you'd have to put Batman 66 potentially in last place just because it's so cheesy. But...
it fit Batman of the time, I think. So
it fit the children's cartoon at the time.
It fit what they were doing with that type of shit on public TV at the time, or broadcast TV. No big deal. Whatever. All right. Next one.
Number 8.
Batman Forever.
Mine's the Dark Knight.
Sorry, getting a little sillier there.
Mine's the Dark Knight Rises.
I said the Dark Knight. I was like, whoa.
No. Mine's Batman 66.
So we're all kind of there, pretty much. I didn't put BS so low like you guys, but
we're in different stuff. But again, this is all based off our personal choices, not necessarily the merits of the individual flicks.
Rewatchability for me, basically.
Yes. Yeah. The order that I would watch these if I was going to sit down and do them now.
Number 7?
Mm-hmm.
The Snyder cut of Justice League. I like it, but I'd rather just be a Batman movie. I don't really care about the other. I like Superman, all right, but I like Batman by himself. I don't even like Robin or Batgirl and all that other shit. I just want Batman by himself.
My number 7's
But I love
Batman
Batfleck,
Forever.
so.
My number 7's Batman and Robin.
What's your number 6?
Do you think that's because of the age you were when that came out? Maybe.
Definitely. But again, it's so wacky that it's fun to me. It's literally...
It's fun.
It is so stupid.
It's like a fucking it's like an hour and a half toy commercial is basically what it is. Like if people were like playing with the toys or making the story up, that's how it went.
I really enjoyed this movie one time when I played a drinking game where I just took a drink every time there was a pun or a bad joke.
So anytime Mr. Freeze said anything.
Or Batman, dude. There's the Bat credit cards and shit. Come on now.
It expires forever.
Ridiculous.
What's your number 5? Or wait,
6.
is that 6? Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I didn't put numbers either, so that's fucking me up. Batman Returns. My number 6.
My number 6 is Batman Begins.
And I'll add to that. It seems to lose my enjoyment as I get older, I guess. Last time I watched it, I was like, fuck. Actually, ever since I watched it, since listening to Kevin Smith's
God damn it.
commentary on it,
Kevin Smith's
I'm like, oh yeah, that is dumb.
There's like, what is there? Like, it's like almost like Beetlejuice. Like Michael Keaton has the same amount of screen time in those two fucking movies. Like the rest of the movie's based on other people.
Yeah, it doesn't show up till like minute 19 in Batman Returns, I think.
Yeah.
Something crazy. My number 6 is also Batman Begins.
What's your number 5?
89.
Okay. My number 5 is...
And I love the movie. It's just,
Is,
has to go somewhere, I mean, but...
I'd say Batman 66 is number 5.
I love Batman.
But Batman 66
it doesn't matter if I
is one of those movies I watched a lot as a kid, so it's got those nostalgic ties to me. It's so fucking silly and campy, but like that's the first Batman movie I ever saw.
My number 5.
I think I saw 89 first.
Batman Forever. I quite enjoy that one still.
Quite enjoy.
The songs, the soundtrack. Not even just the songs. I mean, like the score too. I like the score, the Batman theme. I was listening to it like the other day in the car, and I was like, actually, this is pretty dope.
Which
score?
one?
The score for Forever.
Yeah,
I enjoy it because it's different from the Tim Burton one.
The soundtrack really good.
I mean, I don't like.
I listen to the soundtrack every once in a while.
I don't know about the soundtrack. I mean,
like
I could listen to it ironically, but not like seriously.
They're not all great, but I like it.
Yeah, I mean, but Jim Carrey as the Riddler is ridiculous and great.
A lot of people blame him for Batman and Robin just being so fucking over the top altogether.
Well, even Tommy Lee Jones is
I blame
over
Tommy
the
Lee
top.
Jones more because I think he's trying to match Jim Carrey.
But
he's trying to match his
They should
energy.
have stopped that. There should be contrast. You're silly. You're fucking serious.
Two-Face is supposed to be two-faced.
Yeah, and all he was
calm and collected and wild as fuck, and he's not. He has one scene where he kind of is like that, where he's like, I'm talking very calmly, and then he's crazy.
Yeah, the crazy just
Once.
overwhelms him there because he's trying to compete with Jim
shouldn't be
Carrey.
funny.
Exactly.
What's your number 4 then?
Batman Begins, and I'm gonna say Batman Begins and Dark Knight are like razor thin difference for me. 'Cause I like the origin bits of Begins a lot.
I like it. It just drags on a little too much.
But the end,
That's my main thing with it. Is
I don't like the ending of
that
Begins.
first part.
I like
of it,
Scarecrow the best. And
I love
that's
Scarecrow. That
great.
definitely elevates the movie as a whole for me.
He's great, but yeah,
and Ra's al Ghul being in it, even though I'm not too
yeah,
because
that was a good villain to start with.
Two villains we've never had.
Yeah, that was a bold choice, but it's just so fucking drawn out for some of that, and some of those training scenes just get too boring. Like, cut the chase.
And how many casual Batman fans even heard of Ra's al Ghul?
Yeah,
so that was pretty cool.
I mean, even when you see an animated series, they don't start with him. He comes up later when you're like, okay, we need something different. My number 4 is the Batman.
My number 4 is Batman Returns. I love it.
Yeah.
What's your number 3?
Dark Knight.
Okay.
Yeah.
My number 3.
Mainly for the Joker.
I
like Two-Face, but they didn't do enough with him, really.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like what I said during the Batman review.
They were planning a lot better Harvey Dent in the other one, but they still should have put him more in those movies if they were planning that too.
Well,
but they did just...
He shouldn't have began and ended in the same fucking movie.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Batman Returns.
My number 3 is The Batman.
So 4 and 3. Number 2?
Yeah, what's your number 2?
Batman versus Superman.
See, my number 2 and 3 could possibly switch once I see this again and
Yes.
you know, really depend. But it's not going to switch with number 1.
Well, my number 2 is The Dark Knight. It's fucking amazing.
My number 2 is also The Dark Knight.
Which means number 1 could be...
That's right. You're both 89 number ones the last time, weren't you?
I don't know, probably.
I think so. Mine's The Batman. This is my favorite Batman movie now.
Nice.
Obviously, yes, Batman 89. I can see all the faults in it now that I'm not a kid, and especially that we've had a bunch of other Batmans to compare it to. But nothing hits home in as far as Batman goes.
Well, I don't think
for me watching it like this.
The movies, like the comics, don't have to follow the same continuity, and because there's alternate universe comics where things are different. So complaining that Joker's the killer, it's like, this isn't the comic books. This is a movie, its own universe.
Well, it's interesting for
the flaws don't really matter.
Well, it's flaws like that, or the flaws where like he looks. Honestly, if you watch the Batman and then watch Batman 89, just comparing the fight scenes, Batman fighting.
Well, his ass couldn't fucking move in that thing.
That's what I mean. It's stuff like that, like just
his ass or the
couple things like that, or small things Kevin Smith pointed out, like the set design looking small, or the looking like there's 12 people that live in Gotham. The theaters in the background of every fucking scene in the city. Small things, but it's still, I'd rather watch that Batman than any other one, and I can watch it over and over and over and over.
It's one of those things like, so I had Batman 66 rated higher than either you guys, but that's because that's the first Batman movie I saw. And much like that, Batman 89 was the first Batman movie that I really fell in love with and had toys for, and like got to really enjoy the entire experience of Batman.
If they made the whole series of those films following 89 more like 89 and just built from that and never changed actors and stuff, I think that would elevate 89 even more. But it's like, it's kind of lost potential.
Yeah.
Because they just all kind of went off the rails little by little as it went on.
Well, Batman Returns, though, it felt like it was advancing something. Like, it did feel a little more off the rails because you have a penguin monster and shit, but...
That's fine.
It still felt like it worked within the universe.
But there's something about it. It just feels so different from the first one, though.
Feels close enough to me. It's the Burton-esque qualities.
Well, everyone's used...
I think it went
It's also a different season.
I think it went more Burton-esque, maybe.
Well,
definitely, because you have a fucking penguin monster, which is weird and funny and shit.
I don't know, the big thing for me between Batman and Batman Returns is by Batman Returns, everyone knows Batman, like with the bat signals and all that shit, so like no one fucking is surprised to see him.
Yeah, he kind of loses that mystery.
So that mystery is completely gone, and that's
fine.
He's no longer
and that's
really
fine,
a
but
vigilante.
What's bad is when you get to Batman Returns and he's showing up with a credit card and as a special honor of guest at the fucking event where they're auctioning off women.
In Batman Forever, he's
in gorilla suits.
He's in the courtroom.
Exactly. They show that on a TV, and you see Batman just like, what was he sitting in the bat suit?
With all that cape. Like,
it looked like he was sitting in the chair, the pews or whatever, and then just jumped up and like leapt up.
He was on the jury.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Batman 89 the best overall movie? No, but it has the most nostalgic ties for me, and the watchability. I can put that movie on and just like say the lines and repeat the dialogue on there. It's a very comforting movie in that regards, that you know it so well, it's familiar.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take all of personal feelings out of it, obviously Dark Knight and the Batman are the front contenders for like quality films, and it really depends on whether you like something that's a crime film or something that's a little more darker and personal.
Yeah. There's good elements in each of those. So
this also, cinematography was better than any Batman movie pretty much because they were really trying with it. You could, like, it was artsy as fuck.
Now, there's some amazing fucking shots in the Nolan universe, but the Batman has some really...
But they're different. These ones fit Batman more.
Yes, they do.
Nothing really springs to mind, though.
Really?
One of the Nolan film.
Oh.
The Nolan universe was famous for having a lot of stuff shot on the IMAX camera
for
some of the aerial shots and things.
It's a lot of that, like, big fucking, like, cityscape shots and interesting stuff like that. It works for that, but I think this one with, like, You know, that shot where Batman's walking through the water.
This felt like the Batman universe.
Yeah.
Nolan films feel like Batman characters in our universe, and it's kind of weird.
Pretty much.
Yeah, no, but let us know what you thought of the Batman if you've seen it. Hopefully you didn't watch us if you haven't, because we didn't even think about saying anything about spoilers, but we just assumed if you're clicking on the Batman review.
There's not even a whole lot that you could arguably say that is spoilable on this movie plot-wise.
Spoilers in the description or the title or whatever. Right?
Yeah, and on top of that, we really didn't break down stuff. We just talked about kind of what we liked
never
in the movie.
do spoiler free either. So
yeah, no. If you're watching a review of this movie, expect it to be spoiled. Oh, I'm tired.
Poor little fella. I'll check it out. Yawns are contagious, by the way. Did any of you guys get the Batman popcorn bucket?
No, I tried to get Ricky to buy it though.
That thing was ugly. Like
they
thought the Ecto one knocked it out of the park, and I'm like, why do I need a Batman popcorn bucket? Like, if you'd sold me an actual cowl that I could wear, I may have got that at the movie theater. I may have worn that while I watched it.
If it was adult head size, I think that'd be really good. But it was tiny. It was shrunken head man.
And even that Ecto one.
Yeah, that Ecto one.
Yeah,
you can still talk.
Even that Ecto one though, like so many of us just bought it because it's the closest thing to scale for the.
We buy anything with that fucking logo on it though.
No, I'm fucking very discerning about what I buy at this point.
Some people are though.
I know some people are, but you haven't been trying to buy Ghostbuster shit for forever.
Well, that's episode 101.
101.
Batman 101.
These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers, Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.